You are getting ready to watch an unboxing. And unfortunately for both of us, that package is not big enough to have another rod. Even a 2-piece, even a 3-piece, even a 4-piece, it's not big enough. So what this should be, it's some little, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% for sure. I do have news, and I'm going to talk about, let's just get this unboxed because I'm going to unbox this and then we're going to talk about stuff. So let's get right to it. Let's get her opened up now. I don't want to do that. Don't open packages with the Dremel tool because that little bit will catch and that thing will go flying. Just rip it open the old-fashioned way with your. So I'm not 100%. Oh boy, here we go. They did it to me again. You order something and then they just double and triple package it. So that's, we'll let the maid get that. There's one package down. So we got two separate packages. I think these are all crankbaits. I think, if I had to guess, because I ordered these over a month ago, it's like Christmas. If there's a good thing about waiting so long for AliExpress to get their stuff to you, it's like Christmas because you really don't know what you got. Am I right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, actually these are ones I was looking forward to. And I think they're still smaller. But anyway, we're going to compare these to my Dig-It. These were, I don't even remember, Proberos, but I don't remember how much. Proberos must be kind of likely named around here, over there, because you can get baits that say Proberos, you can get line, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping, you know me, I'm still on that square bill. I was just rewatching my video today when I had time. I don't sit and watch my videos all the time, but I was rewatching the square bill when I did. It was actually, I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of boring. I was out on the water casting these square bills across wood and seeing how well if they'd hang up or not. And I'm still looking to replace the Dig-It with the square bills. And I'm also looking to get the smaller one for little creeks, streams, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this should be the little ones I thought were in that package. Because I ordered some real, hang on, I don't even see where, I'm trying to look to see what opened this thing at. This may be a Dremel tool. No. This, my friends, is a job for a 10 blade. I've watched too much Grey's Anatomy. I'm not a surgeon, but I know for one thing, if you hear him say 10 blade, somebody's getting cut open. Something is getting cut open anyway. Well, maybe I was wrong. I don't know what. Yeah, no. Oh boy, what is this? Wow. Those are the little jerk bait. I think I ordered these like way after the other ones. So yeah, these are like, they almost remind me of a little square bill jerk bait is why I ordered these. And they'll be definitely good. Well, if they work at all, these will be very good for the little bitty creeks and streams. Look at that freaking hook. Oh my God, I didn't realize in the pictures. Look at the hook size compared to that little bait. That thing's got to sink. That is like monster. I think Dr. Frankenstein's hooks are that size or smaller, and that's a little bitty old bait. We'll do a little comparison here real quick after I get them open. Hang on. Hello, perch strike. Yeah, these would be good for perch. Because I'm kind of trying to up my, I guess you'd call it, very small BFS game. Not that I've mastered it, but I've got the power BFS fishing. I've got it more or less in my mind anyway. In my mind, I've got it figured out. That little bait looks like it should work too. Back in the day, if you gave me something with a red head and a white body, we were in business. But then that's just like a natural, like that just looks like anything that swims in the water, right? Little bait fish. I figured I just got a couple to try. If I really like them, I'll go nuts like Dr. Frankenstein, have like one of every color. But, you know, murkier water, that one, and then clear water, like which most of them usually are. Every once in a while, it never really muddy, but it gets murky to where they may like that, a brighter color, and then natural. These I just kind of went, they didn't really, honestly, these didn't come in any great colors for me, but I figured bright, still kind of bright, kind of natural, and they all have orange bellies, which at one time I loved orange bellies, but I guess we should do some comparison. I thought what I was getting in were actual, I'll bring out my little, oh, here, let me move this rod out of the way. This is more or less my main BFS box, which is overloaded. I need to separate it out into other stuff. I got so many baits. There's all of the Dr. Krankenstein and the family just all stuffed in there. That is not, don't look at that. That is not, don't do like me. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Do. But then we've got the little bitty, they do make, and I ordered a couple more. I ordered one a while back. They make a smaller square bill than this. They make one with just one hook, and I think it's a straight hook, but it's like half that size. These are close to an 1/8. And anyway, I ordered a few more of those to try again because the last one I had, I really wasn't impressed with it. So for those of you that are not familiar with these baits or BFS in general, how small some of these baits get, I'm going to try to show you just a general, I guess, size comparison. Now, what I'm going to show you is a big bait, and I had these custom painted a while back. That is a Mega Bass. This is a knockoff version of it. They come, you know, you can buy them all over the internet and get them painted. Norm Coulter painted these for me. But that is a big square bill. Come on, hang on. I guess a traditional size that a lot of guys will throw. Oh my God, they're all just stuck together. Somebody needs to organize this. The maid is fired. But there's a big one. Here's a little one. I think that's a little. Yeah, see the difference? Just a little bit different. This one is a bigger size. There's a littler one. Here is a Lucky Craft. I think they're 1.5. Here's Booyah's. I forget what they even call that thing, but this bait actually does work. And then here is what I've been trying to replace. Hopefully you can make out is a smaller, it's like a touch smaller than I would call the 1.0, but for years Cabela's had these and I didn't think it was a big deal. They'd be around forever, right? They were $3.99. Cabela's Dig It. That is an awesome square bill. I realized they no longer carry these anymore, so I'll try to hold this side by side. So I've been trying since then to replace it, so I know that I've got to go to, you know, if I've run out or whatever happens, because these are notorious. If you come across any Dig It's, the front bills break off if you slap them on the water. So you can see how much smaller it is than your normal size crankbaits, right? Square bill crankbaits. Let me set this down somewhere. Oh my goodness. Somebody needs to organize their square bills. And I do have these in 3 different boxes. So compared to, I guess, what the biggest size I throw, because I don't throw any bigger than like a standard 1.5, except for this guy. Hopefully you can make out how much smaller, like that's the smallest I used to throw. I went from that big to that small. And those are the square bills that I would throw. See how small this dude is? Well, then I came upon, you know, true getting into BFS stuff. And I mean, they've made some of these others. Oh boy, these are, look at all this stuff stuck together. But then Bomber makes these little guys, which work very awesome, but they're just not quite there what I like in a square bill. Now you may remember I came across this size, and these may be the same ones just from different companies, but then I did find this guy on AliExpress, but then this guy I came across first. I'm trying to hold them where you guys can make it all out. Ah, that hurt. How do people hold these without hooking themselves? I guess they don't have sharp hooks. So this guy is a little bit smaller. This guy is way smaller. The problem with these, and I probably have with those little jerk baits, these hooks, I think, are just heavy enough. What are you doing, baby girl? Oh my gosh, baby girl got a haircut. Oh boy. So anyway, I have a bunch of those also stuffed in here, along with this size now, and then even a smaller one coming. So I ordered these Perberos. Let me put these back here. And also, I don't even know if they still, I guess they're still around, the RC, the Rick Clun one. It's actually pretty small. And I can't tell, let me see if I can get an accurate look here. I think this is still a touch shorter than it, and that's the smallest, like standard looking, you know, 1.0, 1.5 square bills that I've seen is RC. You can get the Bagleys and some of those that are kind of square bills, but they're not traditional. They're not like the normal shape of a square bill. So anyway, in the process, I also came upon a bunch of different, there's, I guess, if some of you guys don't realize you're not big into square bills, there's a ton of different types of square bills. But then these flat-sided ones are actually pretty good. They're lightweight, they're good for BFS, but they don't like to be ran real fast, or the ones I have don't. And they have a little tendency to not be true out of the box. But if you know how to true baits, that's not a huge deal. But those are also actually good. So let's get to the baits I just got in. I'm going to open this one up because it's the coolest looking color. Probably be horrible for actually getting bit. So we're going to open it up real quick. I'm getting ready to talk about other things than baits, but I wanted to get this out of the way and see for myself. Does that look like the same exact? I think it's the same bait. Maybe not. Maybe a hair difference, but I think it's the same. The bill looks exact. I think these are the same baits from just different companies' name put on them. But I wanted to kind of get a comparison. What I'm hoping to find is, I'm sure Cabela's, this was their house brand, the Fisherman series. I'm sure they were somebody somewhere, I don't know if it was China or where, were just, you know, making them for Cabela's. So I'm hoping they pop up, you know, under a different name. This exact bait is what I'm hoping for. And see how that much different that is. That is definitely not, that's not the bait. But may still be very good fish catching machines. That's yet to be seen. These little guys are real little. Now I do have a few already. I think I bought these at Bass Pro or Cabela's. But see how they got that little funky bill? I'll try to get those to focus. Come on. They won't focus. There they go. Way different bill size. Almost the same bait profile and all that, but way different bill, going to have different actions. So, and I'm not a huge fan of these. I don't throw them much, but so we got these guys. I should put little rubber bands on them so they don't stick. I'm just curious if these things even, they can't float. They got to be a slow sinking. Anyway, we're going to try those. They'll go there. I'm totally out of square bill room. This last in the little box. So here's my square bills, BFS. The Dig It, which I still consider definitely fishable. And honestly, I throw almost all of these baits with BFS gear. So there's my second square bill box. I just have some in here. This is my general, you know, hard bait BFS. But that little section for the real small square bills, there's my regular or small square bills. And I don't have a ton of regular size ones. I got some, but I don't have any, like I mentioned, I don't have anything bigger in here anyway than what these guys right up here are. Those are about the biggest regular size. This Scamp right here, the Scamp 1.5. I got a few of those, and then everything else is smaller. Then I've even got a few of these Berkeley things thrown in that I didn't really have anywhere else to put them. So that is my square bill box. which I ran out of room to even have the big ones. So now I turned my deep diving box, since I don't like deep divers. I hardly ever use them. I do have some to go a little deep, and then these, the old freaks. I've got a few of those still, that if I do decide I want to go deep, when I go deep, I usually throw a worm or a jig down to where I think they are instead of trying to crank across them. Or I throw a rattle trap, look all the way down, and then come across that way, generally. In the water, I don't fish deep water. So anyway, I don't hardly use those. And I had this whole box full of a bunch of different deep cranks, but as you can see, it turned into my big square bills. These are ones I'll throw on my regular gear at whatever time. You can probably tell I like the Mega Bass and the knockoffs. The Mega Bass, if you are unfamiliar with the Mega Bass square bills, they don't rattle. There's no rattles in the Mega Bass square bill bait. These right here anyway. They got a new bait out now that I had all these before that new bait ever came out. Haven't even tried it yet. As you can see, I got so many square bills. I don't know. How do I justify buying another bait just to try, especially when it's a Mega Bass, like 20 bucks probably, or however much. That crappie color, I bought that off eBay a while back. I'm not even sure about the buyer, but doesn't that look like a crappie? Oh my goodness. Oh, look, he's bleeding. It's a bleeding crappie. That just looks good. Anyway, I got those, and all these, all the knockoffs, all of them that you get painted, all rattle. That's actually a good color too. All these colors actually work. I think that color was probably, out of all these, I think I fished it last when I first started going down there fishing with Charles, and I fished that and caught some. But they've all caught fish. This one at one time was my deadliest, but then it got chunked out and I just stopped using it. Now it actually, it's a good color pattern and it works real well. So all those will work. They've all caught fish. And yes, I do. I'm like Tactical Bass, and I fish swim baits. They don't get any bigger than that right now, but that little bait, I don't remember which one. I think it was this one here that Emily caught her big bass. Like first time we went fishing, she was ever on the show. She caught a big bass with this thing. But I'll be honest, I hardly ever throw those. I just throw them every once in a while. Go, yep, look, they wiggle. Okay, so enough about those. We're going to get to all these. I got to figure out where I want to go with these. I'm definitely going to throw them. I'm going fishing tomorrow, by the way. So that's what my next, I'll just throw them right there for now. My next thing I want to talk about before I get out of here, the unboxing is done. We got, how many baits did we get? 5 baits, 3 little square bills and 3 even smaller, or 2 even smaller little, 2 big hooks. Yeah, I know. I have a little question. BFS is much better than the traditional spinning. Why? Oh, he wants me to explain why I BFS. Oh boy. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, somebody answered him right there. Teton 642. 642. I think he means a 632, don't you? Because I don't know if they make I got the 632. But he's basically talking about this. Try a PW100 and then a Teton. But here, I'm going to give you the real quick spiel, and then I'm going to go into some rods. Okay, I'm going to explain to you why I hate a spinning reel. And I use the word hate. I hate spinning reels because, and I guess I'm too much of a control freak and I get wind knots and all kinds of stuff when I use spinning gear. And then it's the same thing with people talk about, well, why do you switch? You know, you would think, well, if you hate doing that much stuff with your hands in every cast with the spinning reel, why do you use bait casting gear? The simple thing is with bait casting gear, I can do all of this. I never look down at my hands. I'm casting, I'm watching the bait, I'm watching it land, I'm switching hands, I'm engaging. I never have to look down and see what's going on. And once you've got the thing set, I don't look down and see if I got a backlash or not. I know I didn't because I know I just, and I stop the spool, I engaged it, and I'm fishing. Now, I don't know if any of you guys do it this way or not, or can do it or whatever, but in theory, when I tried spinning reels, I should be able to just reach down. I grab the line, right? I pull the line up with this finger. I reach down. I flip the bail open. I should be able to cast. And I even got to a point where I was using this finger to put back on that spool. And I could get pretty good at slowing it down and accurately putting it where I wanted it. But then I should be able to just take my finger off there, you know, because I've casted. And in the process, I switch hands because I did the same thing as I do with bait casting gear with my spinning reels. I put the handles over here because every spinning reel I had, I could switch. I switched hands. I should be able to just go boink, and that spool bail should flop back down, and I should start spinning line in, never have to look down, right? Nope. I don't care who you are. When I was fishing with the spinning reel, here's what happens. I take it. I almost have to look down. I kind of look down to make sure in the last cast I don't have some kind of weird knot or whatever, wind knot or whatever. So I've reached down, I get it, I flip it up. I've almost had to make sure I've got the handle in a certain spot each cast just to make sure that when I do go to engage it or whichever way. So what I started doing was I would literally cast it, you know, and I'd still use this to slow it down, stop it where I wanted it. But then I would have to, as I switched hands, I would actually close the bail. I have to look down at it, make sure there was no crazy whatever, flip the bail, make sure line hadn't, you know, a couple rows hadn't dropped off. So as I switched, I almost always had the line switching hands and then starting to reel the slack up. It's very complicated, I guess, the process and how I had to do it to make sure I didn't get a wind knot. Because if I didn't do that, and say I had a couple reels. You remember the Snapshot Quantum made, and then there was a few that if you turned it, they closed. But what happened was I'd make like a cast, I'd make another cast. Not far into it, all this extra line would go off because that one little coil wasn't tight enough, so it came out. And then when the coils were coming out in the next cast, it just sucked it all out, and they call that a wind knot or whatever. That's not a wind knot. That's a improperly designed fishing reel. They're not as functional as these. I don't care what anybody says. Once you've, and I don't say mastered, once you've got this down, how to cast one of these, you can more accurately cast into a spot, transfer, or start engage. Either way, you know, either way you're doing it, as soon as that bait hits the water, boom, you can start reeling. And the quickest, easiest way, if somebody's like, oh, no, I can do that with spinning gear. Well, you take and you go throw a buzz bait. And you go throw a buzz bait into grass to where there's this much water and then grass. Because I can hit it with this in a little tight 2-foot window. And I can, as soon as it's hitting the water, I'm stopping it. Now, you don't want to engage this to stop it because then you got your gear grinding. But I can basically stop that and have that buzz bait coming on through on top of that grass with this reel. I cannot do it with the spinning reel. I would almost say that hardly nobody can. I mean, if you can, good for you. You've definitely mastered a spinning reel. That's the main reason why I have everything BFS. Then there's a little issue is like once you're fighting the fish, which you technically have more power with these, but I don't go by that because how I learned how to fish, and I don't even know who taught me this. I don't know if you could say it's just watching videos, watching my grandpa, my cousin. I don't fight the fish with this. I let the rod do the work. And I don't know, I have that stuck in my head. You let that rod bend. If the fish is, you can hear your drag or whatever. And if the fish is pulling, you just hold steady. Sometimes you think your drag's too tight. You'll see me in videos like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I kind of give them a little, but I make sure there's tension on that rod. I want that rod bent. But then I'm pulling, and I pull that fish to me with the rod, and I almost, in a sense, reel down the slack. Now, I may be pulling the fish a little, but I'm not trying to grind it out with that fish. I just never have been that way. I don't know. That's one thing where I watch Tactical Bassing a lot, if you guys watch that show. And, yeah, they're dealing with bigger bass. Like, once you get into 10 or bigger, but, they talk about how just crank them, you got to crank them in as fast as you can. I'm like, man, I fish for fun. If I want to go out there with a 7-foot freaking broom handle, cast this poor innocent 5-pound bass on 80-pound line, yank its head off when I set the hook and just crank as hard as I can. Honestly, where's the fun? That's fun. That's I don't know. To me, that's I don't know. I like to fight the fish. That's one of the other reasons why I'll use the BFS gear over regular, or I'll use ultralight, light, then medium, or medium light, medium, then medium heavy or heavy. Now, I'll fish with it if that's what it requires to get the bait to the fish, or if it's in the nastiest cover and there's about the only way to get them out is with, the medium heavies or the heavies and thicker line. But unless you've tried, not necessarily ultralight fishing, I save that really for the creeks and streams or if I want to have fun with poppers and stuff like that. But when I'm out just fishing for fun, which that's what I do, I don't consider myself nowhere near a pro. I'm not, the few little rinky-dink tournaments Emily, we did together at, I don't know. I don't like them. I don't like having to sit around waiting to fish, and then you got to come in at 2:00 or whatever, and then you're weighing, and then you're pretty much day is done. I like to fish from as soon as I can possibly fish till the day's done, and have fun doing it. And for me, as of right now anyway, BFS gear, that's the way I do it. I tried fly fishing. I've tried the round reels. I've tried the power thing with swim baits and all that. And that's the reason I don't go spoonbill. It's not even really spoonbill fishing. I don't go snagging, The idea of spending a whole day to catch one big fish, I don't care if it's an 80-pounder, as opposed to going and spending, the day catching, say, 20, 40, whatever size fish is just more fun to me, with the chance, because you always have that chance when you're fishing for bass of catching a big, a giant one that'll put your stuff to the test and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't know. Did I go on a rant? I don't think that was a rant. I was just trying to explain myself and why I use BFS gear. I got to give them a little fighting chance. Now, don't get me wrong. I use about 10-pound test as light as I go, unless I have to go to 6 or 8, or something for the super clear water, like some places, some of your creeks and strip pits, and, the fish are going to be smaller at the creek, so it doesn't matter. But I want to give them a fighting chance, but I don't. Some of that thinner line, once the little slightest fray or nick, you got to change out, and I use braid the leader, and you got to change your leaders more often and all that. I put 10-pound on it, and I'm usually good for the day. I may have to retie the knot a couple different times on the, bait or snap or whatever. So anyway, enough about BFS. Why? It's something you have to do. If you love spinning gear, then I probably couldn't talk you into trying a bait cast. There's several guys that, a lot of people out there that's just what they use. They're the opposite. They're the same way with bait casters. And I used to be that way for a couple of years. I never even messed with bait casters. My first, couple different bait casters, first few years of trying it here and there, I hated bait casting stuff. I'm like, nope, not for me. But the braking and the way you can adjust these now, they're pretty much, I taught my son Noah when he was 6 years old how to with the bait caster. Olivia has, she don't hardly fish that much. If I hand her a bait casting rod, one of my combos, how I have them set just for me, really, she can cast. And every once in a while I have to turn, I don't even really turn the brakes up. I just take this and I adjust it to where the bait falls, and then as soon as it hits the ground, it definitely does not, overspool, and then she's good to go. Found your old vid, yeah. Going to the single lifestyle, yeah. These handles, that's another thing that I get a lot of questions about. But I tried this. I tried to go away from it. I've also tried to, and I don't like it. I tried the left-handed reel. I got a Cast King Zephyr that I need to sell because I tried it. I don't like it. I cast with my right. I'm right-handed. I cast with my right. I switch to my left and reel with my right. And over the years, I know how to work and do what I do. Now I can get out there, and you'll see me sometimes in videos. I may cast like this. I may make a left with my left hand and whatever. But the minute you put this handle over here, even with the spinning reels, back when I did use those, casting a spinning reel and then trying to do this, no. Right here, I can control the rod, and just the cadence on reeling, because I never really I'm not that guy. I'm not the speed cranking. I'm not the just throw it out and reel it in. I'm usually doing something. I'm trying to give it a jerk or, you know, fast stop, and then using the rod in you know, conjunction with all that. So there's no way for me to even think about trying to switch back. I gave it a little bit of a shot, and no. And anytime, and I still fish them when I first get them new, the reels are new to me. I'll fish them with the handles they come with, but it always feels like that thing's clunking and getting in my way. Almost, I swear that my hand like hits it, the other handle, like as I'm casting. I don't know. As I'm reeling anyway, and then you always end up finding yourself like this. Like if you do get on a big fish, you always find up you're like this pulling. And if you need to jump up here and make a quick whichever way on the drag, you know, if like, oh, that drag's loose, you know, give it a couple clicks. Oh, it's too tight, back it off. It's all right there. It's so easy to reach once you got that other handle. You know, this other part is out of the way. It's just so easy to drag. You don't need no, and I'm not this guy either. I'm not sitting there trying to fish like this. I mean, I'll catch myself. Everybody does. You're just reeling up loose line or something, but it kind of lets you not need a big drag star to reach out and up, easy to hit. If anything, once you do that, then it's almost more in a way a chance of getting knocked around. That's about the perfect. I like those sizes. I actually got I'm going to get a red one. Aluminum. I don't like plastic ones. This thing. All right. What was I talking about? Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Brew Tank Outdoors. The single lifestyle handle. And I've been asked this before, like, why don't you sell those? Well, here's the issue, and I'm not going to sell them. Never will. First of all, I don't make the material. All I do is I buy a handle off AliExpress. You guys can do the same thing. Cut it down. I've got videos showing how I do it. Now, why would I spend, and some of them you get as cheap as like 12 to 15 bucks, handle, knobs, and all. But by the time I do that, by the time I cut that and I round the corners and I sand it down, and then these are even harder because you actually got to polish. Carbon fiber is the best ones to do because it's easier to do and looks. You can get them. This one looking is good, but it's a lot more polishing and, you know, getting it smoothed out to the rest of the. And you basically have to deanodize the aluminum handle, and it's a lot more work. But even if it only takes me a half hour or an hour, now how could I take that? And all I did was basically cut some of it off and charge more money for it. And the money I would have to charge for doing that for an hour, half hour, 20 minutes, however long it takes. I mean, I can just see myself down here trying to start an assembly line to make 50 of these things. It's going to take a long time. And I would have to charge it an extra 20 bucks per 12 or $15 for it. And so no. So anyway, you want to make one, make them yourself. I'm not going to be trying to sell these. I've noticed somewhere there's a couple places that sell them or close. Now, what I have thought about doing, and I'm still going to try this. Oh my God, my videos are forever. I haven't even talked about what I want to talk about, my combos. What I have thought about doing, because if you guys don't know, the one drawback to this, there's only one drawback. There's only one, if anybody says, is if this thing ends up in here somewhere and you rear down to cast. Now, this one, I won't do it. But if you have enough weight, say an aluminum knob, or long enough, like I use 80, 85 millimeters. If you have, like, say, a 95, 100 millimeter handle, and when you cast, that will engage the reel. Or it can, like just the weight, because you don't have another weight here. Now, so what I was going to do is make a couple handles, leave a little bit of nub sticking out, and take a little bit of, you know, tungsten, some kind of weight. You can buy weight for RC cars and all that, but make like a counterweight to where when you balance this part, you know, basically put close to as much weight as whatever's over here, then you would not have that issue on any reel. What the reels I found that have done it, they've got what they call, you know, the clutch is a weaker clutch. It lets it engage real quick. This reel, most of the reels I have don't do it. The older Daiwas definitely are not good for single lifestyle. They have which I like about the old Daiwas, they're very smooth. It takes less force to engage it this way or that way. So when it takes less force to engage it this way, guess what? If you got a single lifestyle and you cast hard, you know, like this, when you cast and stop suddenly, the weight of that will, and it'll engage. That's the one drawback to the single lifestyle. I haven't had an issue on this reel, no issue on the lingle. Charles, the last video I did with Charles, or not last video I did, but I did a video with the original Black Knight, and I think he's got like a 95 millimeter handle, maybe the one it came with, and he had it cut down. That one did it to me once or twice. Has never been an issue on the PW100. None of my Shimano's, Abu Garcia for sure. It takes two hands to engage some of the Abu Garcias. The casking, even after I took one of the springs out, if you haven't seen that video, the casking is not an issue either because that takes a little more force. But on the stock casking, it's not going to be an issue because that thing's got like the two springs that are in it are like the same size. I've noticed a lot of reels have two, but one's usually bigger and they got a littler one somewhere. This thing was like the old Abu Garcias, the stock casking, and this one's I've changed it. Sounds real loud, but that is easier to engage, disengage, but it is not. It still takes some force, so you're not going to have to worry about that. If you run the shorter, like that handle I run is not that long and it's not that heavy. So anyway, that's the one downside of single lifestyle knobs. Handles, I will not be making them. I used to make a couple of my own knobs. That's what that is. I just ground down some wood. I think all those videos are still out and up. So you see me flashing around some of these combos. Here's what I want to talk about real quick. I finally got this thing finished. So now my lingle can dingle. The dangle on the dingle. So I did balance it. I stuck, oh boy, I'm losing my memory. How much weight did I stick in there? Oh shoot. I have some reason I have grams in my. She tries to call me every time. If I do a live video, people try to call me. If I don't, I never get phone calls. Great paint job on the bigger one. Bigger what? Okay, on the big bait. Okay, anyway, so I took this and I added weight. And I want to say I added 3 bullet weights. And I want to say it was right. It was just under 1 ounce. So roughly an ounce is what it took with this. And that little ring weighs like 7 grams. But hopefully you can see it is like perfectly balanced with the lingle. I'm trying to hold it. So see that? That's me holding the finger right underneath. So even though I added an ounce on a 6'9", or I'm about 6'10", when you have that balance and it's just floating in your hand, because this is my rod for the shaky heads, smaller jigs. I'm going to be bouncing stuff off the bottom. So I'm going to want to hold that rod, you know, at an angle and then setting, you know, shaky shake, jiggle, jiggle, whatever, then reel it a little bit. So during that time, I don't have that weight of the tip of the rod, you know, just on a constant pull. And if you're fishing for a long time, it makes a difference. And what's funny is, see that ring? That ring I bought, it's actually a ring like you wear on your finger. I bought it. I may have bought it off AliExpress. I don't know. No, I think I just bought it off, like, you know how you get those ads on Facebook, like an ad popped up. It's like, oh man, it's a cool ring because bonsai, right? And I bought it and that thing didn't fit none of my fingers. And you know what? It fit perfectly. It like went right on. I just happened to, it was laying loose in my tools and I just saw it and I'm like, because I was thinking, you know, it'd be cool if I had some kind of little ring. You know, they typically, a lot of your higher end ones don't just go straight reel seat to the cork. And I pulled that ring up and I'm like, oh, sweet. The clamber, I keep calling this the clamber. The lingle, and it's also perfect. You got gold up front and black. This is black, gold, and then a silver, and then the wood. So it all goes together. Then I can still flip this reel right onto this rod, and we got a perfect match. And you can see I did fix this one. So I got my 2 rods for lingles. Problem is I only got 1 lingle, so I need to order another one. I'm definitely ordering another one. We've had issues with the lingual, but it's still a good enough reel overall. I mean, it's only $79. Now they're going to be on sale for the 11/11 sale. I want to say they're $75 or $72. So I'm not telling you guys to buy one, but I'm getting at least one more. I may just go ahead and jump up and buy two more. That sucks, but it does work. This is more or less for me so far has been a set it and forget it. Now I added the ceramic spool bearings, but I'll be honest, I got another set coming. I'm probably going to put them in and try it. I may end up going right back with the stock bearings because I like the stock bearings. It could zing out some heavier baits, and that's what I have going on here. This reel, I'll probably actually, when a new one comes in, I'm going to take the side plate and the spool out, put in the new reel and put it on here since I already got the handle switched out on this one. And I'll put this on my lighter, this rod. But this is 0.5 grams heavier. The 2-pound line never really went in, but you could hear it wanting to. So tolerance issues are very, like, I guess, iffy for some of you guys. I won't have any issue. I run 10-pound braid on all of my BFS reels. So I know, and it doesn't tend to jump up and want to go off to the side. So I won't have any issues, but some of you guys that, especially the Black Knight 2, are going to have some issues. Now, listen real carefully. You guys hear that? That little creak? I can't get it to do it all the time. But sometimes this makes a creaking noise, and I noticed it's in this top. When I had the reel apart, this is the reel also that didn't have hardly any grease. So if you order one of these, you're going to want to listen. I'm not telling you instantly pull it apart and grease it, but if it has a geary sound, because once I greased it real good, it doesn't have that sound anymore. If it just sounds dry, it'll be real smooth. But if you can hear like, wah, 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 like you just hear the gears working, that means there's not enough grease. So you need to grease it. But when I had it apart doing that, I noticed on this side, you could tell that this is just a little cover that goes down in. There's like two little little pieces that stick down, and it looks like they just pop on. So this pops on, and it's kind of just caught, and so it's real thin, and I think that's why I hear creaking off and on. But anyway, you might have to watch out for that. So anyway, I got these two going together, and the lingual does seem to, it works good overall, and just seems to go with almost all my combos. But if you see me holding up the Black Knight 2, it's also one that does not, it doesn't just go with everything. And I've kind of rigged up my, this is the old Pagani from Megabass. I've made a rod, and I didn't really intend to, but I broke the Pagani a long time ago. But I just so happened that this is that crazy sing-a-lang-a-lang that is not a good rod. But the tip just fit right in the Pagani where I broke it. Like, and it fits perfect. I didn't glue it. It's still loose. But it fits right in like it's a two-piece. I can't explain it. It just goes right in, and it stops, and it gets tight. So guess what? I'm going to go fish it. Just like it is. It's like 5'8" or 9. And I'm going to fish it on this just to see what I like. You know, if it works, it works. It's just one of those things that'll work. So I'm trying that. That's the old standby 661 Kang Teton, and it is one piece. You can't get them anymore. PW100, it's definitely going out on the water. Not even sure if I'm going to take this guy, but I got the Cast King. I'll be honest, the Cast King reel is probably going bye-bye once I get enough, other reels in. I'm going to probably get rid of the Cast King reel. It's a good reel, but just in overall bulk and the size and the spool weight, it's not really up to speed. It's not even up to speed to the upgraded PW100 in my mind, just in when you can cast the smallest stuff, but it does work for everything I use it for. In all honesty, it's probably just the fact that palm's kind of big, kind of like my old Metanium did. So it'll probably be going bye-bye. The only reason it's been here this long is because it does look and match up well with the Zephyr like it was intended for, and it makes an awesome combo. So I may just leave it, but it's going fishing. I don't know how much I'll use all these. I've decided to keep the clamber. I've got it, since I'm going to be fishing some worms and stuff. I've got the clamber, and I've just started to change handles. I'm kind of going to end up doing something different with the clamber. I'm definitely changing the look of it. I'm either gonna, and here's what I thought about doing. I thought about totally taking the paint off the aluminum on the frame and polishing it up. Like if you guys ever seen any of my other alphas, I did that way. But then the side plates, I just don't like the color. So I thought about either painting the side plates black and then, or the whole reel black, or the side plates black and then not really de-anodizing because I think that's paint. It's not anodization. So I got some paint stripper. I totally disassemble this reel, put the frame in the paint stripper, let it clean it all off, then polishing up. That's a lot of work. So I don't know. I definitely like the reel. I don't like the looks of the reel. The looks, the cosmetics, the ergonomically correct feel. Cosmetics, I like what they've done with all the red. I just don't like this color. But that combo, and this reel does, though, it goes good on all of the Teton stuff. The Conqueror and the Teton. Then this is another one of those, I keep saying a combo I never saw coming. I can't believe how well just Aldebaran BFS looks and feels on this cheap Ace Hawk CU Double. And the CU Double doesn't look cheap. It actually, other than this, but actually that looks fancy. That looks like a Cadillac. Like these are all Camaros and Mustangs, and this is a Cadillac. But it's a cheap rod that just, it looks and works good. And this balances well on it. It's a good looking light combo that does work good. So I got it, using it, probably gonna leave it together until I decide not to. But then some of you guys that are regular bass fishermen, not true BFS, this is kind of on the heavy side. I've got the 802 NRX rigged up with the Spirit Fox, and that's kind of like a step up like of my other rods. It's kind of right there with this guy. And then I got the 803 rigged up with my Aldebaran 30 MGL. And then I got the other Daiwa rigged up with the Aldebaran 50. Those are my heavier, full, regular gear I'll be throwing. If I decide to throw whatever, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, rattle traps, 1/2 ounce or so, chatterbaits, spinner baits, whatever, bigger, heavier than the BFS stuff. This stuff is going to go up to 1/4 ounce, 1/8 ounce jigs with the worm, which weigh a lot more. That kind of, I can probably throw a 1/2 ounce chatterbait with this. It says up to 1 ounce, but that tip seems kind of light, so I probably won't with it. This will actually throw up there pretty decent too, but stuff starts feeling heavy. It says 1/8 to 3/8, so that's pretty accurate. So, but once you get into 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce, then the 802s, that's when you go with the 803. So I got the 803, which is perfect for that. And then this guy's kind of same way. It says 1 ounce, but it almost feels overloaded with 1/2 ounce baits. It'll throw them, kind of like the Teton, the 661. This right here, I can throw crazy baits, and it doesn't break. I haven't broken the rod in like a few years of throwing nutty stuff with it, but it's not really intended thing to do. So I guess what I was trying to do in this video, other than unboxing, do you guys have a set? Like for me, it's taken forever to find a reel to complement this rod. I mistakenly happened upon this rod up buying other stuff from a guy that kind of has his own little thing out of his house. He buys fishing stuff and sells it without actually having a storefront. Now, he's not stealing it, but some people are like that. They have money, so they're like me. They're like, oh, this is cool. So he buys all this cool stuff, but then he has no intention of even thinking about using it all, so he sells it. And I'm sure he's making a little bit of profit, and he's got it available. But anyway, so I came across this, loved the rod, never could really find a reel that I liked on. I tried Tatulas, I've tried everything, and so far, I'm really liking this reel on it. I haven't fished it yet. So it's pretty much the same feel of a Tatula, but it palms just a hair smaller. I'd have to measure, but I'm pretty sure the Tatula's, that hump is just a little higher for that T-wing to work and function right. And this is almost the same feel with your thumbs down a little lower, so it feels better. So that combo works good, but I got to get another one. So since I fixed this, and I haven't actually fished this yet either, I'm going to take it with me, and I'm going to just switch them back and forth at some point in time over the weekend and make sure I, just try them out. And what else? Because I've tried other, like you put other reels on this, nothing really that I have that I like. The Aldebaran wouldn't be bad, but it's not really that great. This definitely does not look good. The Black Knight 2 does good. The Cast King only honestly looks good on the Cast King rod and reel, only look good together. This does look okay on, I've got one other, in my mind anyway, I've got one other rod over there that it kind of looks good on, that other Toma, that is a 6'6". If you guys watch that little shootout I did where it could cast equally or touch easier or further than this, being a 6'6", that rod, the Cast King Zephyr, looks pretty good on it. But it's hard to get that orange. I mean, that orange color, is hard to find something that matches. But anyway, you guys like that? You gotta have to have, I mean, is it just me? I'm not the only one that does not necessarily just color combo, but this rod looks kind of janky now because it's got this funky green wraps up the tip. But this reel actually looks good because you got that color changing on the bottom of the reel seat goes with this. So this thing would look good on your regular Paganis. And then with the wood deal, so it's just a good look. It's got a lot of black, black wraps. So it just looks good. This, once you put line on it and kind of get that purple hidden, I still like the looks of the regular PW100, especially for rods like this, just a more, they're not crazy flashy like that pink one I got. So usually I just put red line on that, or regular line, whatever, black line, camo line, or whatever. And the PW100 does look very well on any of your standard looking stuff. So does the clamber. But the clamber was so much red. I guess if you added some gold accents, you could put it on anything like this. It may look okay on that one. I'm trying to make myself like this thing. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I gotta get all these things stringed up. I'm going fishing tomorrow. I've taken all the line off so I could do different shootouts and different stuff. And I got two reels that have line on them still. I got the Aldebaran 50 over there, and then this Spirit Fox. Everything else, I got to put the line back on it, and then I got to string everything back up and get. I fish with snaps. I got to get snaps tied back on all of them. I have all good fresh knots though, right? So anyway, I guess I covered all I wanted to cover. Yeah, somebody asked, does the Lingo come with the drag clicker? Of course it does. But I make my own if I have to. Like the Cast King, well, I make my own, or I just steal the Daiwa ones that were intended for Daiwa. I have a few old ones, but the Cast King comes either way if you order the Zephyr, but that one is not their stock one. That's one I put in this reel. Both of them I got used didn't have one. Black Knight 2 comes with a clicker. If you're thinking about getting a PW100, which I still recommend them, they're good reels, but the problem is they're getting up there in price where I almost recommend the Lingo or the Black Knight 2 over this. I almost have to, just because of I don't know. I probably have to. This one has more bearings in where they count. That one's supposed to, the Black Knight 2, it's supposed to have in the handle knobs, but it doesn't. But it does have bearings where it counts. This guy, it's missing the one right here. And I've updated this one. I didn't show you guys that, but I figured out a way to put a bearing to kind of help on that. So this, I've updated this one some. And I made this clicker. But if you are looking at a PW100 and it's got just all black, no purple, that does not have a clicker. If it's got the purple spool, the purple little knobs, a purple tension knob, that's going to have a clicker in it. But I put this one in. This is actually one I made. I remember I took it apart. I copied the old Dr. Trout off of eBay. Was the only guy I knew for selling them for years, and I copied one of his that I bought several from him, 4 or 5, but they were like 40 or 45 bucks. They were almost as high by the time you got them shipped that you could buy, back when this reel first came out and the Purple Upgrade Pro was like $65. You could buy the whole reel with the 6.6 gram spool, drag clicker, all the cool stuff for like $15 more. Is insane. So yeah, I have to recommend all these. I was thinking about that the other day. Like I checked, I thought about getting a Calcutta Conquest BFS because I still might at some point, just so I can say I've had one, I've owned it. I've only had the gold Conquest, not the newer, not the Conquest BFS. Same thing with the Corrado BFS or the Scorpion. I've never had a Corrado 70. I've never had that size. So just to, I guess, get it, you know, if it is anything like the Aldebaran, that's the problem. I've had the Aldebaran. I knew at the time the Aldebaran was the best out of the bunch. It will outperform both those reels. It's a little more money than Corrado BFS, way lighter. It's cheaper than the Conquest. But as far as like classy, yeah, the Conquest, those are awesome reels. Don't get me wrong. But they just sold out of Digitoc. I was getting ready to buy one that says, because it said only a few left, and now it says out of stock. But they were only like $375 through Digitoc. There's still people trying to sell them on eBay and used for more than you can still get them new for. I don't know. This BFS stuff's nuts on the, like, you keep waiting for those cheap deals, and like everybody's hoarding their BFS stuff. I guess it's not out enough, especially here in the States. I noticed I was just looking to see, I was curious, and Tackle Warehouse, Dobbins, however you say that, Gary Dobbins rods. He's got a finesse one, but in like a 7-foot, the Tackle Warehouse carries it, but they're out of stock. Honestly, if you guys are thinking about getting a rod, and I'm tempted to buy it, I don't need it. I got these NRX rods that I can't sell anyway that probably do way better job than it would. But if you've got one of these, or you just like the blue color, it's turquoise. I don't care what anybody says. But you like that color, 13 Fishing, it's called the Fate Green or something, but it's turquoise. Anyway, they make a 6'9". They're always in stock, and they're $80. That would make 6'9". What do they call that? Light, medium light. I think it's called medium light. But that's 6'9" rod for $80, and it's got a full handle. It's got the reel C. It's got everything like I like. I guarantee that rod would work good for $80. I'm sure it's worth $80. It's going to be a one-piece rod. I've had I've had several 13 rods over the years. One of the higher dollar ones was like $179. The cheapest one, which is I think the same price or cheaper than that green Fate, and it wasn't a bad rod. So I was tempted to buy that rod. I just got so much other stuff. I'm just no way I can buy that. What I'm thinking about doing is putting together combos like I would recommend, or I would like to get, but I just can't. I'm not like, that's about the reel test. He buys a new reel like weekly. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. First of all, I got too much stuff right now, and the 11/11 sale coming up, I got like $1,200 in my cart going. You don't need any of that stuff, but man, it's all like $30 and $50 stuff, but it adds up to a ton. I don't need any more rods. I do need some more reels. I probably probably at least 2 to 1, maybe 3 to 1 on my rods to my reels. But I got more rods coming. I got like 5 more coming, and I got 5 or 6 in the cart. Also, if I like, thanks, Jay. Jay's sending me one of those John Koo rods to try out, and if I like it, I can either just buy it from him or pay to have his shit back and buy me a new one, or whichever way I want to go. But so he's sending that. We're going to try it out. All right, I'm out of here. 1 hour and 10 seconds. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the fishing videos. I've been doing a lot of this stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing this whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be mid 60s to 70 degrees. I'm going to catch a big one, hopefully. See you later. Thanks for watching.